I regret to inform you that I am a little bit disappointed by Callisto Protocol, and when I say a little bit disappointed, I mean the game is dog shit, and I really regret spending $140, my hard-earned money, on the game. And you might be saying, bruh, that's not even possible, the game's $70. And you're right, it is $70 if you only buy it once, but I bought it twice because I couldn't get it to work on the platform that I wanted to initially. So we buy the game on PlayStation 5 because when I wake up on the morning of December 2nd after waiting years, not years, but months, well, no, technically years since the last time we had a good Dead Space game, all right? And now we get the spiritual successor. I'm looking forward to this. We see the E3 trailers. It's looking fucking great, okay? And I'm waiting, and I wake up that morning, and I look at the reviews, and I see people being like, oh my God, Cyberpunk actually ran kind of better than this. And I was like, there ain't no way. Please, God, there's no way. And so I downloaded it on PlayStation 5. And then with the stuttering and the lag and the frame issues that I had to switch to performance mode, which meant that it was kind of like motion blur and garbage. And I was like, I have a 3080 Ti, what's the point? So I downloaded it on PC, and then I didn't get it to work with DirectX 12. So then I used DirectX 11 and limited myself to high graphics, and then it ran at like 60, 70, 80 FPS, and that was cool. So I played the first 4 hours of the game, and you know what? Launches, they can be fixed, right? Launches can be fixed, and that's one thing. But I'm trying not to be too critical here. What can't be fixed is the rest of the game, all right? Like the rest of the game, which the first 4 hours are very interesting, because I'm sitting here going like, all right, baby, prologue is done. We are getting into it. What is it? What is it? What is it? Spoilers. Is it? We're just trying to escape from a planet? That's it? That's the it? Okay, well, that's fine. I don't know if it's because I played Dead Space when I was a new gamer or newer to gaming, and it was just like a nostalgic time where I look back on the story and the characters and Isaac and the premise of the game, and it made sense to me off the rip, and I was like, oh my God. I got about 90% of the way through this game before I realized that the whole point of the game was exactly what I thought. It's I'm unjustly prisoned on this planet. I want to get out, and while I get out, I get exposition on the story, and it's a prison warden scenario, and that's it. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little bit robbed. All right, but the story is objective, right? You know, you're gonna look at me and be like, Jericho, listen, brother, the story is objective. I like objectively boring scenarios that we've played at 100 times. What about the gameplay? Okay, I almost get the concept of making me do the same thing over and over and over again to make me feel helpless because I'm on a prison planet, if you wanted to go that far, all right, and be my English teacher from 7th grade and be like, the curtains are black because they signify the helplessness of the main character, okay? But when I spend the first 5 hours of the 10-hour game, not really, it's like 5 hours of like an 8-hour game. When I play that first 5 hours trying to escape the prison, and I fucking escape only for the game to be like, you thought it would be that easy, and you get put back into the cell that you started in the first place? That's a spoiler. I was like, wow, I felt really hopeless, and not in the good way. I was like, what's the fucking point, man? Because the only way the game deals with getting you on your own as a character while you navigate the helpless maze of a very typical, we're doing tests on the lunar colony population of prisoners, right? The only way they get you away from the people around you is by making you drop down 5 to 10, sometimes 500 feet, all right? Down, okay? I fell so many times down, 100, 500, to fucking blacking out, falling far. I ended up, you fall through the entire prison system. And then, spoiler, you fall through the entire earlier 70-year-old prison system. You are so far down in this bitch, you might as well be in the center of the goddamn moon. And every single time, it's just like, fuck, oh, how do I get out of here? And then your character is like, don't worry, guys, I've been here for 5 years, and I can tell you that the way through is just simply go through the tunnels across the entire system and then take the elevator up. And then you get there and the elevator falls, and then it's like, God, that's so tough. Listen, you're in the new area. You gotta run across the new area. Be careful. and then go up the elevator, and that one falls, and you're like, I'm done. The combat is the worst part. I can't believe I spent the entire first part of this video talking about nothing but the story, when honestly, I don't really care that much. It looks visually stunning, and I can look at this as a story setup game, a 9-hour prologue game that makes me care about the world and the characters that make the second game cool. Because look, I point to Titanfall all the time. The first game was like a blueprint for the second game, and it's a criminal thing that the Titanfall 2 didn't do well. But like, and then we got Apex, right? These things were blueprints for the final thing. Why can't this game be the same? Because it's $70 and it's not at all, it's not good. It's really boring. The combat's so bad. All right, the combat is so bad that at one point, first of all, I don't know why anybody says it's difficult, because all you're doing, it's impossible to be hit in any scenario if you are holding the left stick, left or right. The dodging is simply holding left or right, or on PC, it's holding the A key or the D key, which is a strafe key. So when you're fighting a one-on-one scenario, all you do is strafe in a circle and never get hit. Now, you do have to alternate, right? So if it swings 3 attacks, each monster has either 1 heavy attack, 2 attacks, 3 attacks, or the big attack monsters have 4. There's no change to the attack pattern. Every single attack they do is 1, 2, 3, 4, and all you do is hold left, right, left, right. Then you get your attack window. And the worst part about it is that the attack window doesn't interrupt their attacks if you time it wrong. So they just attack through your animation and you attack through theirs and you still get hurt. And you can't fuck it up. It's just right trigger, right trigger, right trigger, right trigger, which triggers a crit, which you hold left trigger. No matter where that monster gets knocked out of your field of vision, whatever, you like Matrix 180 snap onto them and hit the crit point, which knocks them down. So then you can do these stupid things where you just like infinitely combo the boss monsters, basically, because they just continue, not the boss monsters, but the hardest non-boss monsters, because they can't get up. And it's boring. Every monster has a lot of health. You have like scenarios in which the monster mutates, but the monsters all mutate into the same one. All right, it doesn't matter which kind of monster is mutating, they all mutate into the same kind of monster, which is stupid, okay? And then each individual monster only has like 4 finishers. I'm sorry, the whole game has 4 finishers. It doesn't really fucking matter which monster is attacking you. Your eyes are getting gouged out the same way. Your mouth is getting ripped open. None of the animations worked for me. So again, I can forgive the animations not working because you can fix that. At some point you can. But I cannot forgive the lack of death animations, which is already going to be a criticism in a game that is honestly pretty difficult when you're playing it Dead Space style. The combat is boring. The combat is not fulfilling. And most importantly, the combat targeting system is so fucking awful that whenever you're fighting more than one character, you might as well be throwing it up in the air and saying, I hope I don't get hit, because if they both attack you at the same time, you can't choose which one you're dodging. So if there's a monster that one hit kills you and a monster that won't really do anything to you, and they both attack you at similar times, you're just like, God, I really hope that me staring at this one will make me dodge it. And guess what? It doesn't half the time. The stasis doesn't work the same way as well, where like if there's an object between you, let's say there's like a table between me and a body, and I put the stasis on the body, it's not called stasis, I don't know what it's called, the gravity thing, and I pull it towards me and then I shoot it, my stasis, because there's a table in the way, will hit the table and then the body will just drop instead of just shooting it. I'm like, it's just shit like that where I'm just like, this feels like we got Dead Space at home. But it's sad because it shouldn't have been that way, all right? It should have been, oh my God, we got the better Dead Space, because that's what I thought it was. That's what everybody thought it was. And it's not. It's simply not the case, and it makes me sad. And I wonder if this is my first taste in recent memory of buying into the hype of a game, because visually they made this game look great. Once they fixed DirectX 12 and I was able to play it on PC in 4K, or I'm sorry, in 1440p and Ultra, not Ultra, in high, because it was still laggy, but still whatever. It looked great. did. And the atmosphere was so good. It was just like they kind of ran out of manpower or people or ideas or time or anything. And instead of just kind of letting it be 4 hours of really, really cool concept and prologue where they're like, hey guys, this is what we are doing. Let's move on to the next one. Because I know it's hard to get funding as a studio, and it's certainly hard to make a name for yourself as a first game as a cohesive unit from that studio. But this ain't their first game developing, all right? They developed Dead Space. They were the fucking guys, the team that did the whole thing. So it's not like I'm willing to give passes on rocky launches because it's the first time working and shipping a game by themselves. But like they should have the understanding that they are shipping something that is padded content. And there's one specific area that padded so much content into my playthrough that it would have been a 6-hour game if not for the fact that I kept dying over and over because the game thought it was time for them to give you the unpassable area unless you perfectly stealth. But the way to stealth and clear out enemies is to use the same shanking knife attack. So you end up shanking, I'm not joking, in this one level. I mean, I'm gonna say one level. It's a major part of the game. It's like 25% of the game you spend not shooting or using your weapons, and you end up using the same shank animation like 40 times. And it's like, oh my God. And if you alert any of them, they keep spawning infinitely. You're gonna run out of ammo. You can soft lock yourself in like some boss fights because they don't actually take melee damage, which is like, okay, until you stagger them. But that's a main component of the game. Not to mention that you spend the first 4 hours scrapping for hundreds of credits, like 100 Callisto credits for your prison credits to upgrade your weapon. The weapon upgrades costing 300, 400 at the start, 600 later on, maybe 900 to 1,000. Then the top one being 2,700 for each little tier. All right. And then towards the end of the game, I swear to God, I was cashing in 4,000 credits at a time. I was like, what the fuck is the point of making me feel scarce? I was like praying I'd have enough credits to upgrade one skill tree. And towards the end, they're just like, we don't know. All right, we're sorry. Here. And it didn't feel like it made much of a difference. Plus the grippy grav arm didn't have a lot of like abilities outside of just grab. And I was just like, man, how do you focus so much on content and then it sucks so much? And I'm an idiot, and a lot of these problems that I have may be explained by the fact that I'm an idiot, but I missed the ladders going into new areas so many times because they were like honestly really well shaded, and it looked like part of the environment. It didn't look like something I could climb. Me, being the dumb fucking gamer, I'm like, where's the yellow scuff marks on the ladder that signify I should go here? But honestly, I spent like 10 minutes, 5 separate times, walking in circles around the areas because they'd have like you can go one of 3 ways, and you'd go each way and they'd all loop back to the same spot, and I'm like, fuck, I missed a ladder somewhere. And I did. I'm an idiot, but I'd wonder if I'm not the only one doing that. I don't know. That's like an idea that I haven't thought about, where the level design looks too natural, and I'm like, I don't even know if I should be able to climb that ladder. But look, the game is not an awful game. It's just a boring game that doesn't run well and doesn't do the thing that it is exactly copying better. And so it's kind of like whenever people look at like old Android phones and they're like, dude, you're just copying iPhone. And you're like, yeah, but it's still dope, dude. And you're like, yeah, there's some good redeemable qualities, but it's still not the iPhone that it wants to be. And you're like, all right, fuck, you're right. That's what it feels like. I'm like, if you're gonna copy / take rightful ownership of your game idea, because I'm not here to delegate who owns Dead Space and the gameplay mechanics and the camera and the assassinations, all this shit. I don't care. I just want, as a gamer, I don't fucking care. They're companies. I just want the best thing for my money. And I definitely did not get it in this game. I spent 140 goddamn dollars and I did not get a good experience. So much so that I stopped playing with 20 minutes left in the game because I kept getting, honestly, I kept getting hit through walls, and I had too little ammo to beat the second boss comfortably with the amount of mobs. And so I quit it and I watched the ending, and I was like, wow, I'm glad I just skipped through to the ending, because it's exactly what you think it is. And there's definitely going to be a sequel. So I'm going to play the sequel, and I'm going to spend money on it because I'm a streamer, but I don't know if I'd recommend you spend money on it right now. Maybe if there's a sale, because ultimately first 4 hours are very atmospheric and cool. It's up to you to decide whether or not you want to finish it after that. But hey, for like 15 bucks. Why not?